All right, Red just announced the new Z-mount Komodo X and V-Raptor X cameras, and there's different product variations of them with production packs and whatnot. But I think a lot of people were really looking forward to this announcement because with the acquisition that Nikon did last year with Red, it was inevitable for a Z-mount or Z-mount camera, depending on what part of the world you're in, to happen, and the time has finally come. There was some teasing about it last year at the NAB show of 2024, and with obviously it was inevitable for a Z-mount DSM-C3 lineup to come out. It'd be silly for them not to take advantage of the technology and lenses in Nikon's lineup. And there was another questions of well, do you think there will be an upgrade path for existing Komodo X users and all that? And so those questions have been answered. So first up, I don't have any insider information. I just have what's available on the press release and stuff. So and just watched a couple of videos. The CVP video is really good. You should go check that out. But yeah, I just want to talk about kind of my thoughts on it, and as an existing Komodo X owner with the RF mount, and whether or not I will be sending mine in to get upgraded to the Z mount or converted. I guess it would be considered a side grade, depending on who you're talking to. But the Z mount has a lot of benefits over the RF mount. So one of the big things with the Z mount is I think it might be the most adaptable mount out there, because you can actually adapt Sony E-mount lenses to it, and of course the plethora of other ones. I don't think you can adapt RF lenses to it, but I don't know necessarily why you would. I'm not a huge fan of RF lenses on the Komodo X because of the focus by wire, but we'll talk about that in a second. That is corrected with the Z mount in a way. So it's a really versatile mount. Again, you can use Sony E-mount lenses. So anyone out there that has an FX3 or an FX6 kit that has E-mount lenses and have been toying around with the idea of adding a Red camera to your workflow, then this might be a good opportunity to explore that. I'm sure that the E-mount lenses with the conversion, there's I think on Red's website it recommends the Megadap adapter. I think that's where the most functionality lies. I'm sure there's still going to be limitations with the Sony E-mount lenses versus the functionality of native Nikon Z-mount lenses, but time will only tell with that. But it's still really exciting because it's not just the Sony glass, not the Sony G glass and all that, but a lot of other brands have cinema lenses and the Cooke SP3s, for example, or a lot of the cameraman, or Laowa and Sirui, and a plethora of other Blazar. A lot of those companies have E-mount lenses that may or may not have autofocus, but they might not be available in RF mount or whatever. And so if you get the E-mount lenses, then you can use them on the Komodo X, you can use them on the Nikon mirrorless cameras like the Z8 or Z9 or Z6 III, all those cameras, but also your Sony cameras. So it kind of opens you up. Typically with mirrorless lenses, like the RF lenses, you're stuck really to using it on an RF mount body. Whereas with the E-mount lenses, you can use them now really on E-mount cameras and Z-mount cameras, which I think is really exciting. And there are a lot of great third-party options out there for E-mount, and hopefully that'll grow with Z-mount. Time will tell if the third-party lenses for E-mount will work field native like the Z-mount lenses with an adapter. So we'll see how that turns out. But I think that's really exciting with the Z-mount, just how adaptable it is to use that. It's a really short flange distance which basically just means it's super adaptable. And Josh Satin has a great video on the topic, so definitely go over. I'll leave a link to that video in the description as well. And he kind of covers some of the benefits of the Z mount that I probably did not mention in this video. Yeah, so Z mount, really exciting. Z mount, however you want to say it. Super exciting that that has finally come to life, and it is a real thing now. I think we're all knew it was coming. Now, some other benefits of the Z mount on the Red cameras specifically is you get some other additional benefits over the RF mount. So there are some hardware, like internal upgrades to like the control board or whatever, or something else other than just the lens mount that really help take advantage of the Z mount lenses. So you get like smooth iris control, so it looks like basically how like a declicked aperture would look, and you get really fine-tuned tunability with adjusting the iris using the iris ring on Z mount lenses. Again, not really sure what the situation will be with all E mount lenses if that same communication can happen, but with Z mount lenses and Z mount glass is awesome. Like I had the 24-70 and I think the 24-120 for a while on loan with the Z8 and the ZF, and those lenses were they were great lenses. And honestly, like the 24-120 I think is what it is, would be a great pairing with the Komodo X or the V Raptor X. Just that's a great focal range. It's f4. It's plenty for most applications. So yeah, back on track. The hardware upgrades inside of the Komodo X and the V Raptor X. I'm pretty sure the V Raptor X, but I looked more into the Komodo X because that's the camera I have. But the additional hardware upgrades really help with some of those communications with the lenses. And also there's an improved autofocus is kind of what I'm seeing and hearing and reading. And there will be some autofocus upgrades for RF lenses as well. But I just don't think that there's going to be any more improvements past this. I mean, I'd be surprised. It'd be really cool if they did, but I'd be surprised if they put any more energy towards RF lens compatibility and improvements with autofocus, just because, like, why? Why would you? If you are using your own company's mount, I would put that energy towards that. And then the other thing that's really cool is you can actually take it out of a focus by wire mode on the mirrorless lenses, like for the Z mount, and use a more traditional linear focus. So you can actually change the focus throw degree, I think from like 35 to, it was like, I think CBP video is like 700 degree focus or something crazy. That's really exciting. That's my biggest pain point with the Komodo X and RF lenses, that it's only focused by wire. And that's been a huge pain point. Like I'd never use RF lenses on the camera with the exception of like the little 16 millimeter prime lens if I need it to be like a really small compact package. Otherwise, I don't use RF lenses on the Komodo X because the autofocus, not that great. It might improve a little bit, but autofocus is not that great with the RF lenses. It's just not reliable enough. It's not reliable as like a Sony or Nikon or Canon camera. So, and then the focus by wire kind of makes it really difficult to use like in a run and gun situation. So I always use EF lenses on the Komodo X, like the trusty old 18-35 or my Leica R's or my Sigma 24-70, which are both EF lenses. But if I were to upgrade to the Z mount, you can adapt EF lenses to the Z mount, no problem. I'll be curious to see if, depending on different adapters, if autofocus and stuff will work with EF lenses, if it's any improved. But if not, you have the linear focus on the EF lenses, which is super nice. So that's really exciting to be able to change it from focus by wire to linear focus. That makes it worth, to me, if you're kind of getting into the Red ecosystem, I would definitely recommend going towards the Z mount instead of the RF mount, because it makes using mirrorless lenses, native lenses, actually usable on the camera. And then there's some other things like you can assign some of the buttons on the lenses to different things. You can assign it just like an assignable button, which is pretty cool. I don't think they're limited to what you can set it to. So if you're always on the barrel of the lens, you can set it to like false color or geoscope or whatever. I don't know. That's pretty cool. Another really cool thing is you can change the focus direction of the Nikon lenses, because they are, if you're not in the Nikon world, then the focus throw direction is opposite of pretty much all other lenses out there. So that's pretty cool that you can just kind of reverse that and let it act like any other lens out there. So if you have follow focus systems set up a certain way, then you won't have to change things around in your follow focus systems. You can kind of keep it all the same. So if you go from a Z mount lens to an EF lens to a PL lens or something, you can kind of keep your focus motors and everything all the same there, and just change the setting for the Z mount lens in the camera settings. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I think I think if you are sticking with the Red ecosystem, I think the Z mount is the way to go. They have new PL mounts coming out that actually have pass-through information. So, and they have a V&D one as well. Those are coming out, I think, later this year. Probably we'll see them at NAB. I plan on being there at the NAB show, so I'm definitely going to go by the booth to check that out. So that's really exciting. I mean, I'm pretty pumped for this announcement. It was definitely inevitable and pretty cool that it has happened so quickly. I was expecting it to maybe happen like at the end of this year, but it just kind of shows that Red and Nikon are really serious about, keeping things going and advancing. And, a lot of people are like, oh, Red's completely dead now because Nikon is going to shut them down. Like, that's obviously not happening, and thankfully that's not happening, because I really like my Komodo X and plan to use it for a very long time. So with that said, do I plan on getting the conversion done? Well, as of right now, I have made a reservation to do so, but I do have a couple of questions, because I have the Stormtrooper version. I really hope, and I'll even pay extra, but I really hope it's not just like the V-Raptor X upgrade from Stormtrooper V-Raptors, where you have like the black front and then the white rest of the body. I would like pay extra if I could have the whole body just be black, because I don't really want to have like this checkerboard looking camera. And honestly, I just don't really like the white camera to begin with. I know it's silly, but honestly, I just don't like it. But yeah, I do plan on doing the conversion, just because it opens up more possibilities for lensing to be able to use, and not only just test for this YouTube channel, but like it gives me more options for different lenses to use, like the new Blazar. I think it's Blazar. They make an autofocus anamorphic lens. That's pretty cool. That's something that I definitely would love to test out, but I have no cameras to be able to do that. And if they add to the collection, like that'd be really cool to have on the Komodo X. And I just see that like this kind of future-proofs the camera a little bit. From what I understand, they're not phasing out the RF mount versions anytime soon, but I wouldn't be surprised if eventually they do phase those out, because like, why sell something with a different lens mount? I'm sure there's licensing costs involved with that. So I don't have any insider info on all that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Z mount was the future. So I definitely plan on sending my camera in to get converted. I do have some questions about it, so I'm going to call them later today. I'm filming this before, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm filming this well before their offices are even open. But yeah, stay tuned, because I'm sure more content on the Z mount will come out, and I will definitely try to, once that gets done, I will definitely try to get some Z mount lenses in on a loan from B&H, who they're a big supporter of this channel, and they let me borrow some gear from time to time to test out. So I'm really excited for it. And with the hardware upgrades, in addition to the physical mount change, I think we'll see some future upgrades and firmware updates that'll really enhance the Komodo X and VRaptor X in the future. And now this kind of, I'm really excited for this year for Nikon and for Red and Blackmagic as well, but we'll talk about Blackmagic in a different video. But I feel like this and last year were kind of the year for Nikon and Red, and I'm really excited for it. And with their improvements to the color workflow with the Nikon mirrorless cameras, right now it's in Red Cine X, but hopefully they can send all that information over to the Blackmagic design DaVinci Resolve team to be able to basically bring NRAW and convert it to IPP2 color workflow. That'd be really cool, and that's just something that would be like a no-brainer to pick up a Z8, or if they come out with a Z8 Mark II, that would definitely be something that I would most likely pick up for as an A-cam, B-cam situation for the Komodo X. And then I would have to figure out what to do with my R5 II that I bought, but I still really like this camera. So just a lot of word salad here at this point because I'm just kind of rambling, but I'm pretty excited for the announcement. And I think in general, unless you have a specific use case or need or are heavily invested in a lot of RF mounts and accessories. I mean, I have a lot of RF mounts stuff too. Like, I really like this EF to RF adapter with the locking ring, and hopefully Metabones, if they don't already, they'll come out with something like this, because I still really like using EF lenses, and I'd have to get a PL to Z adapter, and probably won't get the red ones because those are $3,500, and that's a little intense for an adapter, even though it has electrical contacts. But if that means I can, pick up a used Z8 or something for, I mean, they're not that expensive, relatively speaking, and that'd be a great A-cam, B-cam, especially when you use their conversion LUTs. It gets pretty close to looking like the Komodo X. It's not exactly the same, but close enough, especially for interviews and stuff, and then do some tweaks in there. But recording in NRAW, definitely a big plus. And hopefully what I would love to see next is a big announcement like this coming from Red. I would love to see a big announcement coming from Nikon to put in R3D in their mirrorless cameras. That would be super, that'd be epic. Just having that IPP2 workflow would definitely be really nice. And anyways, that's it. I'm rambling at this point, but pretty exciting. I will leave links to kind of what I talk about in the description below. And I think it's an exciting year for Red and Nikon, and I'm excited to see kind of how this journey goes on with Red and Nikon. It already seems really exciting, and they seem really serious about it, which is silly to say. Of course they're serious about it, otherwise the acquisition probably wouldn't have happened. So that's all I have for you on this one. Thanks for watching, and talk to you later. Peace.